Hi team, we're back in action, and in this video what I want to tackle is lining the walls and the ceiling. Now what lining the walls and the ceiling actually entails is that we need to put some insulation in here. I need to also add another bit of sound deadening beside the windows. We need to pre-wire all the wiring for everything that we have in the van. What I'm going to do is use some CAD design. Now that's cardboard aided design to scribe in the plywood to make sure that it fits nicely. And we use obviously the cardboard as a template, trace that around on the plywood and then cut it out with a jigsaw. Now luckily, I can make a template for one side that the opposite, the back of it, fits the other side. So we've cut the first bit of cardboard up and just in a square with the dimensions, so 1935 wide, 1935 high, 1600 wide. So now I'm just going to try and fit it as best I can in place, and then we'll work out where we need to cut to get the actual angles and all the beams cut in and the wheel well as well. Yeah, I might actually turn it around and use the flap on that end so we can get it sort of situated. What I've got to work out, which I think the bottom is actually slightly wider, which is annoying because the wheel well's in the way. So I'm just going to have to approximate where the wheel well is, cut a hole, and then we might have to fill the hole back up with tape depending on how well it fits. And true to form, where the hole size of the box is slightly too small, so I'll just grab the knife and cut it again. So that looks good, seems to fit mostly. I'll just need to scribe the end off and cut in these pieces. This one is the most important because it will probably protrude a little bit through, so we'll need to work out how we're going to cover that. But if I just mark these, then we just need to measure the depth down to there. All right, so that fits well. So the roof slopes back, so we will need to scribe this off, and same with the back of it basically. But this front bit I'm pretty happy with so far.
Hello, how's it going?
Good. What do you think?
Oh, good. This is the lining.
Yep, so basically it's all fits nicely up there and up here, but then I just need to scribe how the roof falls back that way, and then scribe in that side as well.
Cool.
But basically it all fits quite nicely. So I've scribed in the back. It fits pretty nicely, just got to scribe in a little bit of a hole for the door guide to go through. We can work that out soon. So really the test will be if it transfers across to the other side. So let's have a look at that. There we go. Looks pretty good to me. We've just got to cut a little bit of a notch out for this cabling, but otherwise looks pretty good. That template is all ready to go. I'm happy with the way it's come out. So now it's time to transfer it to the plywood and get cutting. entails is first cutting these fairing strips. These fairing strips at the moment are just at the back sort of half. I'm going to put them up into the ceiling up here, but I'll do that once we've done one of the other jobs that we need to do in this lining episode. Now the second after putting these fairing strips up is we need to insulate in behind them. Now I put them up here because they'll hold the insulation in rather than having to tape it up. So we're back using the same insulation as we did the floor, and that is green stuff. I talked about why I liked using green stuff in the floor video, which is linked up here, and that still holds true for the walls and the ceiling. So made out of plastic, moisture repellent, and super easy to work with. So real easy to cut, just with simple Stanley knife or box cutter, and you just tear them and put them in the holes. Let's get into some insulation. Next, what we'll need to do is do some pre-wiring. What that entails is running all the wires behind the wall lining and then up through the roof where they need to go across. So after I've run the wiring through these beams up here, that's when I'll put the fairing strips across the beam. And the reason why I want to use fairing strips is I just want a little bit extra purchase for the wall lining to go through rather than just screwing them straight onto the sheet metal. Let's talk about the 12-volt wiring that we have to do before we install the wall linings. As usual, we've maybe overcomplicated things significantly with our electrical needs. We are going to run a decent electrical system, which we'll do a whole video on, but basically we've got a ton of lighting, USB chargers, water pumps, toilet, all that sort of stuff to get the wiring for. Now I've gone off my wiring diagram and hopefully I've included everything. It's not the end of the world if we have to run some wiring through cabinets and under beds if I've missed something, but we should be okay. At the back of the van, if we come down here, is where basically all the electrics is going to be. So this is where all the wires terminate, and I've obviously labelled each wire. Everything will terminate into a fuse box, which is likely to sit about here. There is quite a neat lighting system that we're using, which all the switches are remote controls. So the lighting terminates into a switch box, which will go roughly about here. And as you can see, every piece of wire that's gone through the body of the van has been run through some conduit. Now these bits run all the way up and over and out here and down to the front of the van. So this up here is wiring for the bed, USBs and lights, and I know that runs through this beam here. This is actually the input for our battery monitor. When we've run, although that slipped a bit, but I haven't clipped these up yet, so we'll be clipping this all together and making it secure so it doesn't rattle around or move too much. But when I've run it through the gaps in here, it's always run through some conduit to make sure that the wiring doesn't rub and wear away. as usual with these sort of jobs, I allotted like 3 or 4 hours to run all this wiring. It's taken me about 2-3 days because I've also used quite a lot. So I had to go back to the electrical wholesaler to get more wire and more conduit. But we're there now. It is ready for the Sparky to come in and do his thing with the 230 volt, and then once we've installed all the paneling, then we'll be able to start working on the rest of the electrics. So this video is quite long now, I think, so we might cut it there. Thanks very much for tuning in this week. Remember to like and subscribe. Click that subscribe button to keep following us and see how we turn this medium wheelbase crafter into a home on wheels for 4 people. Time is getting tight. We're about 6 weeks away from wanting to use it. Not quite sure if we'll make it or not. There's some things that are holding us up, but just stay tuned and we'll see you in the next video.